Oh man, the drinking stream was a very bad idea. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I got hit by a truck today, but I'm here. I want to make a video for you guys. It just might not be as enthusiastic as normal. Wanted to talk to you guys today about a game that is close and near and dear to my heart. A game that doesn't get anywhere near the amount of love that it deserves, and yet is still getting a sequel because it sold enough copies and showed enough as a spin-off to a franchise that is beloved, but also admittedly a bit of a cult classic. That game is Judgment, which I cannot recommend enough. Let's talk about why. There are two types of gamers out there when it comes to Ryuga Gotoku. I don't know how to say the studio name. It's, I believe, Ryuga Gotoku. I probably butchered it because that's what I do. Regardless, the studio is responsible for the Yakuza series of games. You have players who have played Yakuza, and then you have players who have never played Yakuza. Judgment is great for either player. If you're sitting back and you said, hey, I've played Yakuza before and I have concerns that it's just simply going to be more Yakuza, you couldn't be any further from the truth. If you've never played a Yakuza game before and you've never played a Ryuga Gotoku?
Ruches and combis. Originals, Skittilis. Booty Wish. Mayan and the Assy. Poop Secrete. Diamandi. Kalagni.
You are in for a treat because I can guarantee you will not play anything else like it out there on the market today. Let's get into what makes Judgment such a great game. Yagami. Yagami is the main character of this game, and I'm not going to spoil anything about him. We'll just say that he's a detective, and the game is going to take place in Kamurocho with you investigating a mystery. I'll be honest with you guys, and this is a bold statement, but it's true. In one entry, I have come to care more about Yagami as a character than in all of the other Yakuza series combined for Kazuma Kiryu.
Stop saying that, or I will cut you!
I get it. I know that's a bold statement, but that speaks to the testament and the quality of this game. I've played many video games over the last 32 years. This is one of the best video game stories of all time. The story itself, just straight up, is one of the most intriguing, impactful, wild rides I can ever remember having in any game that I've played in recent memory. I can't emphasize it enough. If you play games for a story, then Judgment is an absolute must play. A game that my wife and I played together. My first playthrough ended at 55 hours. My wife sat with me for 55 hours over the course of a few months, and we played through this game together, and it became better than anything we were watching on television, anything that we were doing. When it comes to media, our favorite thing was to sit down together and play Judgment. It's that good. It is that good. It's also lent itself to some really funny and very cool moments. For example, here is my wife trying to walk down the street. And here is my wife, literally 30 seconds later, after she couldn't walk straight, fighting a group of thugs. I mean, the laughter that we got out of that moment and the fun that she had. You know, just giving her the controller every once in a while and just letting her go around and do her thing.
Look at you! Ow! Hey, what? Say it again! Say it again! Say it again!
It just the game in so many different ways was such an enjoyable blast and such a great experience. If you like to beat people in the head with bicycles and cones and do some wrestling moves or just look like a really cool karate master, this game is also going to be for you. You've got this flair in Judgment's fighting system, very Final Fight-esque, except it's set in a 3D world. So you're going to have enemies that have health bars, right? You're going to have your brutes that pick things up and you have to break their guard. You're going to have small, more agility-based enemies who are going to be carrying knives and those types of things, but you're always able to use the environment to your advantage, and you're always able to kind of choose the style of fighting that you want to see. Here's an example of what I'm talking about here. I was fighting multiple people, and I realized that I actually picked up a skill that would allow me to fight, drunken master style. I took out all of those enemies with one special move. You build your gauge up, you're able to kind of unleash these special attacks and do different things, and yet it goes beyond that. You can make friends with people around the city, and if you happen to be in a fight around those people, they can aid you in battle. My buddy, a street vendor who was being bullied by some people who I had saved hours, maybe even a dozen hours beforehand.
Man, I'm glad I called that guy.
Like I said, there's just nothing else like it. You'll be able to jump off walls and unlock different skills and abilities that will allow you to do new things under different styles, to be able to counter enemy attacks, to be able to be more effective against certain enemy types, and it's all up for you to decide how you want to build your character. You can see that there are certainly some Yakuza influences there, and Kamurocho is still Kamurocho, but it's just all so much more fleshed out. You've got detective mechanics that are a significant departure from anything you'd see in the Yakuza series. Some of them work better than others, but it's all completely and totally engaging. You've got Sega arcades out there to do. You've got sports that you can go out and do. You can go to the batting cages, and they have different challenges, and you get experience for doing more advanced courses and getting better as you kind of go out and do these things. You can win rare items that you can only get through these side activities, including a VR mode if that's kind of your thing. There's just so much to do outside of the main story. There are side cases to tackle where you get kind of those really unique, absurd side quests that honestly have had me bellyache laughing. They're so ridiculous, but they're so intentionally ridiculous. It's just a part of this development team's identity at this point. You're consistently being rewarded for engaging in that side content, and yet you don't have to do any of it if you don't want to. You can stick straight with the story, or you can go and do all the side content and just get completely and totally lost. And it's just so unique, and it's endearing. The vast majority of the time, it's just something that you're not going to see. You're not going to experience anything else in the gaming medium quite like a game developed by this studio. Something else I really want to touch on here, and I think this needs to be commended. The way that Ryuga Gotoku Studios have handled a medical topic in this game is one of the most impactful things I've seen in the medium, period. I'm not going to talk about what that medical issue is, because I think it's something that players should experience for themselves, and kind of how naturally and organically this medical issue becomes a prominent focus of the game. It's absolute sheer brilliance. But the way they handle the topics and its impact on people is so real. It's so authentic. It's so genuine. And as somebody who's been impacted by that particular medical topic, and knowing a lot of other people who have, I think it's done with such grace and such beauty. I mean, it got me choked up a couple of times playing through the game.
Tissue?
No, I never wipe my tears away. I'm not ashamed of them. I wear them proudly. Like small, wet, salty badges of emotional truth.
Absolutely brilliant work by this studio, and especially their writers. And by the way, if I haven't said it before, and I may have, but the localization of this game is second to none. I found myself repeatedly laughing. You know, when you read different lines of dialogue and you can hear how well they're delivered, but also when you're reading it, because not every line in the game is voiced, you kind of go back to that like PS3 style of like the text coming up on the screen and you hear like the typewriter sound. It's very old school. Like I said earlier in this video, it's just really neat how in a couple of different ways it harkens back to other areas of video games and does them justice. These are intentional design decisions that, at least for me, somebody who has played a lot of those older titles and recognized where those elements are coming from, was just absolute great fan service and just really cool Easter eggs to just the history of this medium. One other aspect of this game that I've got to touch on here, it is a phenomenal example of virtual tourism. So you can go into first person mode, and when you go into first person mode and you walk around Kamurocho, whether it's daytime or nighttime, it feels like you're in a section, a small little pocket universe of Japan. This studio has been heralded for how well they've represented the Japanese lifestyle and the, you know, the daily goings on and what happens in the evenings over there and how the city comes alive and the different activities that are on par and the visual authenticity. I will often just go into first person mode and just walk around and feel like I'm in Japan, experiencing another culture. And this game is just a great avenue into doing that. The way they've kind of managed to naturally pack this into, this package as a whole is just from start to end so well done. It's something that I couldn't help but talk about. My goodness, man, you got everything with Judgment. You've got an incredible story. You've got an incredible protagonist. You've got a fantastic script and localization. You've got this extremely interesting city that's just a visual feast, but also begs to be explored and interacted with. Tangible rewards for practically everything you do. It is a phenomenal game. I'm so happy it got a sequel. I think that it's going to be a phenomenal franchise, and they just announced that the Yakuza series, which just randomly made a change to turn-based combat, that the Judgment series will continue to take this Dragon engine, and you'll see the evolution and the continued improvements in that engine moving forward exclusively in the Judgment franchise. And that to me is just awesome. And that speaks to the legacy of this game. I would give this game probably a solid 9. The story to me is a 10. I think the story in this game is something that will have you on the edge of your seat. It's something that will keep you guessing, and it's something that will, quite frankly, shock and surprise you in the best ways. And overall, it's just such a great game that I could not recommend enough, especially now that we've confirmed we've got a sequel and we've got a $40 PlayStation 5 game that's out there and one on PS4 that is often up for sale. If you're looking for something to play and you're tired of, let's say, the AAA blockbusters or a particular genre, and especially if you've never played a Yakuza game before and you're interested in the least in action and really good stories or just Japanese culture, the best possible thing you can do if you decide and make the decision you're going to engage with Judgment is to go in completely blind. Don't read anything about it. I would recommend very highly the Japanese voice acting track. The Japanese voice acting in this is simply incredible. It is not a pain to read the subtitles. I heard the English VA is really solid.
Buongiorno.
But I've never experienced it for myself outside of the first few lines of the game when I instantly change it over to Japanese. Let me know in the comments down below if you have played Judgment, if it's something that you've had your eye on, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, or if you're going to go pick it up after watching this video. I would love to engage with you and talk with you more about it. Check out Judgment and let me know what you think. All right, guys, that's all I have for you here today. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out here with BauerKillz. Stay healthy out there. Stay safe. God bless. And we'll see you in that next video.